podcast. Is it on?
Yeah, now it's on. So now we're going to get started.
All right. So are you going to do like an official show, like an Oilfield tailgate thing?
Official.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
official.
This one's official.
Oh, official.
Officially unofficial. We have whiskey and cigars and friends.
There we go.
And probably some terrible ideas.
Yeah, really bad ideas.
But so everybody watching this, we pre-gamed a little bit here in Houston, Texas.
You don't want to see any of the pregame. It's
Yeah, we have some of the pregame recorded, some of it not. But either way,
we're not playing any of that though.
we have a lot of stories that all of you have similar stories out there. That's why we do this.
Yeah,
it's therapy.
Yeah, it's fun. So I'm Lloyd with Jera, since Matt introduced me, and the guy over there is Jeremy with Pika.
Yep.
Introduce yourself.
My name is Jeremy. I'm with Pika Industries, and I run an oil field marketing company, but I like to drink and tell stories, so that's how I got rounded up with these guys.
Yeah, and that's all I require for this podcast is can you have a little sip and tell me your story?
Yes.
And you have some stories.
I have some stories. I used to tell this story. So
So first of all,
yeah.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Florida.
And what in the world brings you roundabout to Houston, Texas?
Well, Houston, that's a long trip.
Well, I know.
I mean,
let's take a little trip through Lloyd's.
Yeah, Lloyd's
laundry.
history. Yeah, so,
Lloyd's laundry.
I started out. I grew up in Florida, and I joined the Army when I was 18, and I did 4 years in the Army, and I was stationed in Fort Riley, Kansas.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for thanking me for my service. I appreciate that. So whenever I got out of the Army, I went to K-State because, I got in-state tuition and all that stuff. So I got my engineering degree at K-State. And then I wound up in Duncan, Oklahoma when I got out of K-State working for Halliburton as a field engineer.
Yep.
So I did that for several years.
Frac guys.
I'm still a frac guy.
You are a frac guy.
Once you're a frac guy, you're always a frac guy.
It's true.
So
hardest working people in oil and gas.
But I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of downtime. I wouldn't say I was one of the hardest working people in oil and gas, but I would say that I worked a lot of hours.
There you go.
Sort of. Wasn't really working though.
Yeah.
I was, waiting on wireline, stuff like that.
Changing out.
But anyway, it's whenever you are working, you're kicking ass, right?
Yep.
You're kicking ass when you're working. So
sledgehammers are flying.
Fluids pumping, sand's moving. I mean, it's a big organism.
The only people in our industry that can break a steel anvil with a rubber mallet.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely can do that.
Yeah.
I believe that.
So anyway, then I jumped around. I jumped around all over. I could go through all my different sales roles and stuff, but I ended up being a vice president of sales and technology for EcoStem, somewhere way farther back down the chain there. And we had turbine equipment that was old greenfield equipment. And then I met Jera, which is a Chinese manufacturing firm out of Yantai, and they were one of the packagers on the greenfield equipment. So I met them while I was working with those turbines, and I found out that they had current direct drive turbine technology. And so I ended up joining them. They asked me to join them to represent them because I knew a little bit about the equipment and had some industry contacts, if you can believe that or not, people that are actually respected out there.
You're respected? Well,
there's some of them. My friends, not me.
We like you.
Yeah, some of them. And anyway, so then, I joined them, and we've been selling equipment. We're building direct drive turbine equipment. We're building electric frac equipment. We're building generators. But I don't want to talk about that too much because we had something else we wanted to talk about today.
Well,
but that's my story.
We'll come back. We'll circle back to all the things we want to talk about.
All right, sounds good.
But for you, homie, thank you for hosting us at your home.
Anytime.
Beautiful home. Got to meet the wife. You obviously outkicked your coverage. If she's watching, he doesn't deserve you. It's okay. and you go to any oil and gas event or meeting, we don't deserve the women who love us at all.
We all are fortunate, but he does have a very sweet dog. Where's Pika?
Well,
she's in the house.
Yeah, Pika
is too hot out here for Pika.
No Moss podcast, people.
Right.
So where'd you grow up, and how did you get to oil and gas?
All right, so I grew up in Denver, and my dad was a roughneck years and years ago, and then ended up in marketing for a lot of years, and then.
How do you even define it? There's so many people like marketing.
It's marketing. Okay, so this is the thing, and everybody wants to say they're a marketer, but they're not. This is the reality of it. It's like they're not. You got a lot of sales guys, but the reality of it is there's very few. And in the oil field, you got a lot of marketers who don't know oil field at all. And so you got to, if you hire somebody, you got to train them what a pump jack is and stuff like that. Well, I know a little bit about stuff, and so that's why I have my company. So I run Pika Industries, which is a oil field marketing company that got about 12 clients. Have some nice success in the industry, but got a lot of contacts. Grew up in Colorado. spent a lot of my career doing technical marketing, working on heavy trucks and that sort of thing, automotive. And then University of Kansas actually asked me to come market their energy research. And if you're familiar with the state of Kansas, their energy research, they like to talk about wind, but their energy research is really oil and gas. That's what Kansas has.
It should be.
And so cut my teeth and got some really good advice from a good friend that said, you're not going to learn shit about, I hope I can say shit, but I just did twice. So
I think you can say shit.
But you're not going to learn much about oil and gas unless you get yourself out there. And so I did.
Yeah.
I spent a couple years.
Put on the FRs.
Yep. But a couple years out, just, I'll admit I was a tourist, but I learned a lot. And then I was fortunate enough to marry into an oil field family. And
your wife is connected.
She is kind of connected.
She runs shit down here in Houston.
She does a lot. Her father's kind of one of these famous frac guys. And so I leverage her a lot for questions. And
nothing wrong with that.
Getting good reservations at restaurants, whatever it takes.
Most of my career, I would not have gotten into meetings without my wife walking in first.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. You show up at my door and you knock, like, what was it, like 2012 that we met, right?
The first time I meet him, she walks in and I'm like, this guy's on the spectrum. I don't think he can speak.
What do you mean? Let's explore that. Go ahead.
I mean, like, she's beautiful, so I get it. Like, a lot of times guys are stunned. Like, they can't speak.
Yeah.
They walk in like, I don't know, who's this guy or bouncer?
I was just surprised somebody walked in without permission.
Yeah. We did kind of walk into offices and kind of own the place.
But it was fine. It was fine. That's how you got in. But if you would have walked in like you own the place, I'd be like, what the hell are you doing? Get out of here.
And you would have thought I was
Yeah. But when Viscomi walks in, it's like, what can I do for you?
Yeah, I knew what I was doing.
Yeah. You were playing it good. That was good. That was a good gig you had going.
Yeah, well, she didn't want to run around with me too much anymore. Yeah, it's too much.
That's a different story.
Yeah, it's a different story.
That's all right. We still love you.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. I need some love. That's why I came down here to Houston.
I love you. Came all the way down here for this.
Yeah,
it's warm.
It is warm. Yeah.
Everywhere you go, it's warm.
This is nice for us.
We turned the fan on, but you can't hear us talking if we turn the fan on.
I got lucky. I came down here. We did night fire specialist suppression demos all over Houston yesterday.
Hey, and I just want to say that it's very important to have fire suppression on location.
You were there. You were a frac guy. You know.
Oh yeah, I've seen fires on location before.
Terrifying.
I was fortunate. We never had a crew burned down, but it happens, and it's a very valuable service that you offer, Matt. So thank you for your service.
Yeah,
wow, that's sweet.
Absolutely.
You know, the other day I was up in Pennsylvania, and there was a company man that wasn't thrilled that we were there. Mm-hmm. He's like, I don't really understand why we're doing this. It's going to take time away from the.
He's never had a fire.
Everybody's had a fire,
yeah, okay.
But I get it. Every single second out there is about the pump down, right? And how like there's no time to spare. I can't have you taking my guys away from their task at hand. And I said, listen, I get it. None of you guys are firefighters. I don't expect you to be, but these young guys the reason we're all doing this right now and talking to everybody out there, we're trying to recruit people into oil and gas.
Yeah, we need hands.
Energy literacy, energy education. Well, there's those brand new guys out there. They're wearing the green hats and they're covered from head to toe in hydrocarbons.
Tattoos.
And tattoos. And that's fine. Hey, look, they're more decorative than me. I'm not artsy, so I don't have any. But
no, either.
By all means, they showed up. They volunteered their bodies, minds, souls, and hearts to the beat of our oil and gas, drum. And so I look at those young guys and I'm inspired, and I get sentimental, and I'm getting older now, and I'm like, thank you for being here. You're vital to our industry.
Yeah.
I am so excited you're here. You don't understand that you're a walking candle wick.
Yeah, that's right.
You're covered right now in every fuel possible to get lit up if there's enough heat.
Well, and I would say that the young guy, speaking of young guys, and I get it, the fire thing, we want to keep them safe with the fires, but
that's it. I told that company man,
keep those guys safe.
You will be the first person to grab that nozzle and go help that kid out.
Yeah.
So regardless of if you care about this stuff or not, putting out that equipment, you are their leader. I can see it in your eyes. You're passionate about all these kids out here. You will go help that kid out of trouble.
That's right.
So that's why I do it.
Yeah, some of your systems are automated too, right? Mm-hmm. So that you don't even have to grab the nozzle; it just puts the fire out.
We can set it up however we want. On a frac location, the nozzle's the most efficient because you don't know Where how about this? We know a fire is going to happen. We don't know where it's going to happen. So grab a nozzle 75 foot away, you can walk over.
All right. That's
good.
Anyway, that's the simplicity of it. But back to marketing and oil and gas.
Yes, sir.
Well, actually, I want to expand on the young kids in the industry, right? Because
I'm scared now.
Yeah. No, we need more guys in the industry, and nobody
women too.
More guys, women.
Just diversity.
We need more hands. Yeah.
We need all hands on deck.
All hands on deck. And one of the things that I used to see whenever I was working in the field is you'd have new guys on location, and of course the older senior guys they would be kind of treating them like they were dumb. Right? It was fun. It was kind of hazing. And
it's hazing.
It's fun, right? Hazing's fun, and you do pranks and you do these things, and it's great. But there's a time and place for that. And so when we had our safety meetings, one of the things that I always like to stress in our safety meetings is don't treat a guy that asks a question like he's an idiot. If the guy asks a question, he deserves respect because he cares enough to ask that question.
Yeah.
And so I didn't allow that on my location. The hazing, yeah, we did all that. We had some fun,
but we didn't
do it while we're working. And if they're asking a question about work, you answer their question. You be kind to those kids. You be thankful that they care enough to ask the question. I just like to share that as something that
they're going to keep our lights on.
That's right.
And safety has come a long way. And I will say, I'll mess around and I'll tell a lot of stories, but I will tell you what, safety in this industry has come a long, long way, and it's a real important thing. So
it is important.
So keeping you all safe out there is real important, and it takes everybody.
Well, we all found out recently. I mean, until maybe a year or two ago. We'd never heard about ESG. We'd always lived it anyway. Our industry and our culture
Tried to.
is about returning investment anyway.
Yeah, I've never understood why people think, like some of the people that aren't in the industry think that, there's going to be a pipeline, there's lots of oil spills. We sell oil. Why would we spill oil?
We don't want to drop.
That's a product.
Right.
The more environmentally efficient we are,
exactly.
the more fiscally efficient we are.
And if we can figure out a way to turn the
waste.
Exhaust and the emissions into revenue,
Money.
You think we're not going to do that?
Love it. Bitcoin, I'm a big fan.
Big fan of Bitcoin. I'm a big fan of the carbon capture stuff, actually.
The carbon credit capture stuff.
Oh, yeah.
$1 trillion industry right now.
I've always said the only thing that makes an oil man an oil man is that energy and that money. And so if you can give me an alternative that's going to compete with hydrocarbons, I guarantee you operators will step up.
We are unabashedly
we haven't seen one yet. Yeah.
Well, I'm also the president of Trisun, which is a solids disposal company. And so we take waste from the locations and we inject it into a disposal well. But you better believe we're getting all the money we can get out of that that wastewater before we inject it. We siphon oil off of it. We siphon some Baroid and stuff like that off of it. Yep. I mean, we get as much revenue as we can out of that waste stream. So it's not like we're even dumping our waste on the ground because it's valuable.
Yep.
So they bring it to our location, and we harvest what's left to harvest out of it before we dispose of the water. So,
and with newer technologies, you're going to be pulling some of the stuff you're injecting now is like cost-wise, I can't get out this much more.
Right.
But as technologies are coming online,
there's some new technologies for harvesting precious metals and things out of the wastewater stream. Yeah, there's stuff that we're looking at on that. There's ways to squeeze the solids waste that we have to get more oil out of it through the soil farming applications and things. So yeah, I mean, we're not looking to waste anything. So anybody that thinks that we're just dumping oil on the ground and polluting the earth is nuts. They don't understand the industry because that's our product. There's no way we do that.
Engineers want to make us money.
I want to make lots of money. I want to find it every way. Every part of the stream where there's a waste product, there's a potential revenue source.
And for those watching that aren't in oil and gas, it's not really for our own gain. There's only so much money you can't.
That's not true. No. I wake up every morning thinking, how can I be rich today? How can I make myself more rich? Yeah. And if it's harvesting waste products.
But then we're bored and like, okay, well now.
I'm just kidding. I'm being silly.
Now I want to go and do things for our community.
No, I did the one time in Tulsa. We had a SPE meeting, and the guy that spoke, I can't remember who it was, and I apologize because the guy knows who he is. No, it wasn't Dinesh. I don't think it was. But it was one of the CEOs of one of the local companies there in Tulsa, and he got up and he said, he's like, the honest truth about what we do every day is we get up in the morning and we try to figure out how to make ourselves rich.
It's true.
He's like, we figure out where's the best place to drill, how do we cut costs, How do we reduce waste. That's our goal. Is it's all revolves off of trying to get rich. And you know what? I really enjoyed his speech, and I was like, he's not wrong. I mean, rich, maybe that's a little extreme.
But we're rich. I mean, we're rich.
Money.
We win the lottery in that we're in oil and gas.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's the best. It's the best industry.
Please, come to oil and gas.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it better.
If you're on LinkedIn looking for a job, you call this guy, you call me, we'll find you a job in oil and gas. There's plenty out there.
I love giving resumes of my friends to other friends.
I love helping guys. I love mentoring guys. Like if I have an opportunity to mentor somebody, it's my favorite. I love it.
We're fortunate.
Yeah.
Yep. I'd agree.
I've been blessed.
He's listened to us all day.
That's just like I'm a dummy. I'm not an engineer.
Here's what you could do better.
But I get to play a part. And actually, I value it. I love the fact that I get to see, especially in my job, because I've got upstream clients, I got downstream clients, and so anywhere in between. One day I'll be talking about produced water, and the next day I'll be talking about exploration, and that's what makes it exciting for me is I get to see all sides of it, meet everybody, and it's a big family. And I tell you, I was just at the national SPE event, which was all right, but. Just getting back and seeing people I haven't seen in a couple of years.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
I do want to.
Good.
I am fortunate to sit on a lot of committees and boards and the national board for the AAD. we can always pause.
We might have to.
We'll pause. We'll fill up the glasses. We'll come back to this. But
no, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I see a lot of big symposiums and oil and gas events like that, and we want them to be successful because I want people to go to those and learn something and network. I don't want people to go, it's not worth it to go. It is worth it to go.
Right.
Show up. If somebody takes the time and effort to put a booth in at a show, leave your office, go down there, shake hands, meet them. Like you talked about, it's all hands on deck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Every single operator out there is looking for new partners because they're having trouble finding what it takes to do drilling, completion, production, facilities, construction of their pads, midstream, downstream, upstream, everything in between to get product to consumers. We have to find who's available.
Well, and during this downtime that took place with the COVID and everything, there's been a lot of things that were developed privately, like in labs and in offices. People have come up with new ideas and things, and they're holding those tight because they were locked in.
They're not going to get paid on them beforehand.
Right.
If I put this out now, I'm not going to get paid.
Right. But the other thing is they've come up with those things, and they've been enclosed. They had no place to go and share it, and so then it becomes it's too expensive to go to the conference, right? Because it didn't cost anything the last 2 years. Like we weren't in our offices, we weren't going to conferences, and everybody's cost went down, and all the management teams like that. But you have to go to those conferences to hear those new ideas because some of the guys that made the ideas made them in their closet or in their house, and so they're trying to tell people about it so they can get investors and get new spirit and get things boosted up. And whenever you've got poor attendance at the conferences because everybody's trying to save money, we're not going to advance. We have to get back to the place we were 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when everybody was working for advancements. The best time was like 2007. Before 2008,
that was a good time. Yeah,
2006, 2007, the conferences were banging. They were fun. There was events and stuff, and they were also lots of good technical papers and things that were coming out. Lots of developments that were being shared amongst everyone. And now it's kind of we've got niches of people that are developing stuff. Yeah, everything's tight hole now. Yeah, and understandable. I mean, some people are just trying to make money off what they do.
You worked for a smaller operator when I first met you.
Yeah.
That was private equity backed, right?
Yeah.
So, and immediately that private equity firm had 4 other operators that they had created.
Right.
And you are eventually going to become part of the Smash Co.
Yeah.
So if you didn't keep it tight hole, your competitor, which was funded by the exact same people, or that guy's watching 4 companies he created to see who's the best of the best.
Right.
Yep.
And if you share that knowledge with that guy, he might be employed in a few years and you might not.
Yeah, that's true. And that happens.
Or your boss.
Or vice versa. Or but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of tight hole, and I understand it, but you have to, my idea, so here's my thoughts, and I try to share this with my coworkers and stuff all the time. If you come up with a really good idea that's solid, right? And you want to protect it with your IP and everything, and that's good. But what you really want to do is to be the best at offering that service. If you're the first, if you came up with it, why can't you be the best? And so people spend so much money trying to lock and secure their IP and stuff. And I mean, that's fine. I'm not saying that's bad for anybody. But if you took that money and invested it in getting your product out there, improving your service, and being the best at whatever it is that you do, nobody can copy you. And if they copy you, they're a second-rate service. You're the first, you're the best, you're the winner.
Old marketing rule first means something.
Yes.
I mean, look at Coke and Pepsi. Coke still wins. They were the first. And I have a client, actually, I have a current client right now where they got this really great technology. I won't go into it right now, but it's all over the lower 48, and they're kicking ass with it. And every time I'm like, let's put the map up there. Let's do something. Let's show this off. And they're like, no, because our guys might know where we're working, and then they're going to move their units in there, and they're going to take our work. I'm like, but you're the first, and you're the only ones with this technology, and you're the first. And if you hire a guy like me, I'll make sure you stay the first.
Are you seeing operators ready to... Is it still too early to start taking chances on R&D developments that are just now coming into market?
My personal opinion, I don't think so. I think this is the time.
Taking risks now. Are you seeing operators taking risks with new equipment, new ideas?
In it, but I think this is the time. And I always recommend to customers and clients and people I'm working with is that
big companies like Hess, right? Like, are you going to step out of Halliburton and go try, SDS out of Oklahoma because they're faster on their frac.
I mean, look at Lewis. Like Lewis worked with BP for years. Yep. Why did Lewis work with BP? Because BP couldn't get it done because they're so big. And there's no disrespect to BP, but Lewis got it done. They got it done faster. So guess what? A lot of those operations were run by Lewis. I think the time is always. People don't understand typically that they want to wait. Oh, when revenue's up or when I have more budget.
Right.
No, it's not about that. It's about getting in there, taking that chance, having that new technology. And guess what? That's when you start seeing operators that people love and respect. They're like, oh man, EOG's killing it. It's like, well, they take a chance. And that's why everybody, typically you talk to people who love them. It has different opinions on that particular operator, but there's others out there. I tell you what, I grew up in my career in oil and gas working with independents. And the best companies to work for are independents. Why? Because they take chances.
That's right.
They are original wildcatters, right? They're the ones.
Kansas is always doing it.
Kansas is great. Kansas. I mean, that's the thing.
Wildcatter country.
Kansas is an oil-friendly state.
Five day wells. They just pop little holes and move as fast as like Murphy.
They've been doing it for years.
Great little fact. I was just up at the Kansas Independent Operators Association, and the stat that came out that day is next to Texas, state of Kansas has the highest drilling permits currently in the entire lower 48.
They just move every couple days.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, little verticals.
Yeah,
about 3,000 feet.
They're not big producers, but they're consistent.
They get in, they get out. They're always economic, typically, because these guys have been doing it for years.
Yep.
And they make money. When I was starting out, kind of, you talk about 2008, 2009. That was Mississippi Lime play. Everybody's talking about Mississippi Lime. Everyone wanted to talk about Mississippi Lime.
Boy, that was painful.
We had people pulling.
It's hard to talk about.
Everybody. Well, but the thing is, like when you talk to the old guys.
I just listened to. Digital Wildcatters put out a really good podcast. Like they always do. They're here.
Just kidding.
There's another podcast in oil and gas than Matt's Oilfield Tailgate. I had no idea.
My little podcast, but I listen to every oil and gas podcast. I think we did a number. There's at least 100. I think there's at least 100 oil and gas podcasts now.
Wow, I'm an old man when it comes to podcasts.
Just like my fantasy football, I am number 99. That's fine. I'm in the mix. I got to be.
Lloyd and I are fixing to be 100. So
I got to be on the team.
Yeah, we're gonna be at the bottom.
If I'm benched most of the time, I'm still on the team. I'm wearing a number. Right?
Well, I had no idea there was so much competition. But go ahead. What were you saying?
Well, it's fine. But they were talking about the Mississippi Lime and some of the numbers and. Obviously, people had two books back then in the day, like, well, here's what we tell everybody we're going to make off of this versus what we know from reservoir and water and yada, yada.
Well, let's don't talk about water. Let's just talk about oil.
Yeah, but engineers know, like, we're going to drill these wells and whatever C-suite guys go to tell other C-suite guys to make this money, we know what that well's really going to do at the end of the day. Yeah. Different books.
Well, and I hate to say it, and I'm not a geologist. I'm just a frac guy. But I screwed up on a well, like really bad in the Mississippi Lime.
I don't believe it.
It was bad.
I refuse to believe it.
Because I was new. I had been a frac hand. I hadn't been involved in like actual operational work. I'd moved to an operator, and so I made a bad mistake on a well. But it ended up being one of our best wells. And I think I know why, but I'm not going to say because everybody will get mad and you'll be getting hate mail.
There was already water in the well. You didn't need to put more into it.
No. Well, we did put more into it, but so I'll just give you a little teaser of what happened. I didn't know what a tangent was because I had not been on the operator side, and I was working two different areas. And so in the first area I was working, I was told that I always shoot my first perf like 150 feet from the section line.
Okay.
Right, that's where the first perf is. That's where it has to be. That was our policy.
Regardless of any other...
150 feet from the section line. And that's, we had to do it for legal reasons or whatever. That was our policy. So I go to the Mississippi lime well, and I'm like, there's the section line, 150 feet, boom, there's my first perf. I perfed the whole well. And it was in the tangent. I didn't know what a tangent was for. You know what a tangent is for, Jerry?
No, explain that one to me. That's new for me.
So anybody that does, anybody that knows, but anybody that doesn't know, the tangent is a long section of low slope so that you can lift these high water producing wells, right? So you have to land your ESP in the tangent so that you can unload the water.
Right.
I know that now. I didn't know that in 2012 whenever I'm designing my first Mississippi lime frac, right?
What's the equation that goes into the rock that people need to know? This was on the Digital Wildcatters, and I listened.
So which one you talk about? Well, there's a bunch. There's like
but Oklahoma is going to produce different wells than any place else, just like Permian will because of Darcy's.
Right, and that's got to do with perm.
Yeah.
But there's other factors also. There's
so much.
It's not going to be a technical discussion, but what I can tell you, is that I shot.
They would call us out immediately. They're like, no.
The Poisson's ratio. I mean, we can talk about all these things.
Yeah, I nerd out. Like, just because you guys are engineers, I read the same books.
Let's talk about the 4 modes of fracturing.
But so I shot all my perfs in the tangent, and it was a big scenario. It was a big problem. And my production engineer didn't know that I was an idiot, and so he ran his ESP down below the top perf, pulled sand in on top of it, et cetera. It's a long process.
Yikes.
But I can tell you, when it was all said and done, it was the best well we had in the field. And I'm not going to tell you why. I'll let people guess what my theory is. But I can tell you.
We got to find out. What do you think the answer is?
You can guess it.
When you see this, let's
I could be wrong. I'm not a geologist, but I can tell you. Here's what I'll tell you.
Pose questions to the audience. You will get answers back because I found out how many wells are operational in the U.S. that are being reported from this. I found out. Well, we're still working on how many flare stacks are.
So then here's my question to the audience. The Mississippi lime is water heavy, right? We know it's the ocean when you're doing the Mississippi lime. Does oil float?
I've heard that. I've heard something about that.
If you're in the middle of the wettest formation in the world and you shoot a whole bunch of perforations in your tangent and it's the best well in the field, maybe we're drilling too deep? I don't know. You answer the question out there. You can answer the question. I can tell you I talked to my geologist about it, and they thought I was crazy. And they said, no, we'll frack up to the oil. And I said, oil floats. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not a geologist. I'm not a physicist.
I learned
but I know if you put a drop of oil in a glass of water,
I learned some sixth grade science. Yeah.
So anyway, I think everybody was drilling too deep in the Mississippi lime. I think that a daring player could go back, acquire some of those wells, hit the top section, maybe even shut off the lateral and just hit the tangents. I think you might make some wells out there. Because we watered the shit out of them.
I think we could just take all the water that's going to continue to flow and take the oil out of what's floating on top, and that's more economical. Yep. If you're just
look, I'm telling you, all you got to do is you shut it off. Like you set a plug. I'm telling you, all that lateral stuff in our situation. In this one case, it's a one case study correlation. That correlation doesn't equal causation.
The one
case where I fucked up. This is the only time I ever fucked up. I don't know if you can say that. I don't know if you say that, but the one case that I screwed up in the Mississippi lime was the best well, and all we did to fix it was set a plug and shut off all the stuff that was no good.
Do you guys ever find yourself, like I have looked back over my career, just taking, I mean, first of all, I pride myself on, like, I really, really do love and take care of my friendstomers, right?
Right.
Every single customer has become a dear friend because they find out immediately, like, oh, this guy does give a crap. Right. Like, I want to know that your wife and kids are okay, that you're okay, that you're having a good time out here.
True. That's a stand-up guy.
Well, and I'll jump in. For those of you who aren't in oil field, this is a very classic oil field, too. This is real oil field. We take care of each other always.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of money taking care of each other.
You guys are my ride or dies.
Yep.
Like, that's it. Like, you call me in the middle of the night, like, hey, come bail me out. Like, I don't judge. I don't ask questions. Right. I just I show up. I'm like, are you okay? You need a burrito? You need a blanket? Or
sometimes Lloyd needs that.
Yeah, sometimes
both.
I frequently.
Could you wrap me in a burrito?
Sometimes you just need a hug. This guy right here, best hugger.
Best hugger. Yeah, I want to be best 100%. hugger. 100%. but we all understand. So anyway, keep going.
No, I was just going to say that it's characteristic of the oil field. You'll meet some of the best people that'll take care of you, and like you said, you'll bump into them again and again. My current production manager was long-time oil and gas in Kansas, and she's the best lady, the smartest lady, and keeps me running straight all the time. But if she had a problem, I'd drive my ass to Wichita and help her out.
I knew her name rang out immediately when you said her name too.
I knew she was an asset. So Kelly, if you're out there watching, that's how we're bragging on you. But you're tremendous.
You said the name, and I was like, know who that is.
Yep.
I don't think we've ever got to meet in person, but I'd bow. I'd be like, your name is synonymous with like taking.
And this
care
guy's
of people.
famous. I mean, he's got like 60,000 followers or something. It's amazing.
It's creepy.
It's a little weird. How many of those do you think are bots? Are you like the Twitter? Are you like Twitter?
Yeah.
You're like getting lost.
I actually peeled back the onion layers, and I have 3 true followers. 3.
Right.
They're in Pakistan. They come out of the mountains once a month, and they come down to their TV set with their ears on it.
But they forgot their password, so they make a new account. And
no, it's
over time you get to 30,000.
It's one guy with 3 goats, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's it. And they'd be like, the Matt, he's on the TV.
Yeah, the Matt. The Matt.
I love that guy. I love that guy.
Where's my password?
So if you guys are offering out there to give me sponsorships, well, you will have at least 3 people in Pakistan and their goats watching.
Yeah. And maybe if we're lucky, one of our kids will watch one day.
Someday,
whenever they're adults, they'll be like, "Oh,
our
look at
children
this is
will
my
watch
dad."
on their newest gadget and
we'll have our first viewer,
our
first legitimate viewer,
implanted in their eyeballs.
So can we take a break and get some more whiskey?
Yeah, let's do that.
We're taking a break. We'll be right back.
Hey, stick around. We're having a blast.
Stick around. We're having a blast.
It's going to get nothing but better.
There's going to be sponsorships. If you're out there and you want to sponsor our show, let us know. And
in fact, right now, we took over your stream. It's going to cost you $50 to turn this off.
Yeah. I know that. Hey, I have lots of people like, man, the first thing I do when I check LinkedIn is have to delete your post.
That's terrible. No, it's fantastic.
I figured out the algorithms just bombard people.
That works. It does.
All right.
It does. All right, take a break.
See you in a minute.
Hey,
all right, we're back to the podcast. We have refills. We have cigars. You don't like cigars?
I don't look you in the eyes when I toast you. We're gonna have had sex for the next 7 years. Is that right?
Oh. Well, we're not doing that over.
Too soon.
That's on the podcast forever.
No, I don't smoke cigars, man. I like the smell of them. I think they're kind of cool, but I don't know. I've tried to smoke one before. I just don't enjoy it. I like I don't mind you guys smoking at all. I think it smells nice. Yeah, it's fine. But I don't like the smoke one. It makes me.
I swear to people, it does enhance the flavor of brown water.
Yeah, brown water.
That is true.
It's like something to do with
whiskey.
It's like this. There's a science there, right?
Yeah, no, it's like the pairing. It's like a wine pairing or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't know anything about that.
I don't know.
I drink sugar whiskey, so.
Well, here's a good example. So I can almost not taste the sugar in my whiskey. No, that's not good.
I don't want any cigars. That's the only way I drink it.
Well, I don't like sweet.
Really
I don't like sweet anything. I like that, but I also started on whiskey. So, what's your very favorite brown water?
Very favorite brown water is. I tell you what, I'm a Jack Daniels man all day long.
Okay.
Just classic Jack. I used to be Jack and Coke. Now I'm just Jack and on ice.
So I used to be a Jack Daniels man. I used to drink. I called it Uncle Jack's Mountain. So Jack Daniels and Mountain Dew. So you see a trend here. I had sugar with it.
So you do like the sweet.
I like the sweet. I like the sweet. So
you're Canadian in your heart and soul.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not American.
Yeah.
For all our Canadian friends, it's just a joke.
It's
just a joke. We're on the downfall.
If there's anybody who could get the joke, it's
we're
Canadian.
failing.
We are not.
Yeah, we're failing.
I was introduced to brown water, obviously, by all my oil and gas family early on because, you take sips of your dad and uncle's whiskeys.
My dad didn't drink, but I get where you're coming from.
Well, Crown, right? Like, they don't like Crown.
Oh, yeah, we called that. So I grew up in Florida. Was it Crown or was it, which one's is it in the square bottle?
Crown is like a
Lord Calvert.
Oh,
Crown.
Lord Calvert's in the
Lord
square
Calvert.
bottle.
Fancy.
So in Florida, Lord Calvert is called airboat whiskey because it doesn't roll around in the bottom of your airboat because it's in a square bottle.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's true. True story.
It's good engineering.
Crown has the bag that when you get really drunk, you wear
the purple bag.
instead of underwear, and that's typically how that
purple
goes
bag.
down.
There's blankets made out of Crown. I mean, there's a whole
I've seen that,
there's a whole culture around the Crown.
Crown and Diet Coke is pretty good.
No, I did not say that was my favorite. I just said that was something that I touched on when I was younger. But
you're gonna say like Jameson?
No. I love Jameson. That's a love-hate relationship between the wife and I and Jameson, but love for me.
Yep. Yeah. What are we going with? Give it to us. Quit the suspense.
Lagavulin. The Scottish people and their single malt from from the island of Islay, the most peaty.
Oh, you like the peaty? Okay.
I love campfire in your mouth, like Talisker, Lagavulin. Like just amazing whiskeys built on campfires.
I like Malibu.
I've seen a trend. Now I'm seeing a trend. We got 3. I've got a trend.
I like Malibu with Coke.
We're going back to oil and gas now on that. Anyway, again, Lagavulin, if you want to plug from me, you're welcome to send me any swag. I take hats for plugs. Amazing.
There you go. I think you owe this man a hat because I had never heard of you before just now.
Well, we're probably about 40 minutes into this, I'm guessing.
Nobody's going to hear this at all.
No one's going to hear this at all.
We lost all the
We lost all the
we might pick up a little Aberdeen audience. We don't know.
Well, maybe
if
you split it into 2 sections, people will watch the first 5 minutes of the second section.
I tried that. I had JP Warren and I had
he's good. I mean, I would watch JP Warren all day. He's the guy's charismatic.
Lovely gentleman that I've met throughout my career.
I've never met him, but JP, if you see me somewhere, we're friends because I think you're extremely charismatic and I've got a little bit of a man crush. But
I totally have bro crushes on my bros.
Yeah,
I never ever get out of a podcast episode where like, I love you, man.
Yeah. And I love that guy. I've never even talked to him.
We are fueled by you can
just tell he's legit. You can tell that guy's legit. Like he really means well. He's a good guy.
I'd say 99.9% of the people in our industry are exactly like they portray themselves anyway. I'd say that's truly genuine people who care about each other.
I think so.
A million percent.
I'd agree.
99.9. JP, DRW,
that other
Chuck
1%
Yates.
are bastards, though.
Anybody?
that 0.1%. Fuck those guys.
Those guys are terrible.
They're really bad.
Lloyd, at one point, I don't. If we don't get out of it, if anybody's listening to this right now, do you have any of the shows that you were doing?
Yeah, I got some.
Early on, no kidding, I told him he was on the spectrum when I first met him, right? But then he's like, "Here's a flyer. I just took comedy lessons." And you're not really shaking. I'm just making this up.
No, I was much cooler than that. I threw it at him. I was like, get out of my office, come to the show.
He made a paper airplane. He threw a paper. He engineered a paper airplane and threw it across the room, poked me in the eye, and I have to go to his show. One eye.
We did have some sort of agreement that you had to go to my show, but I don't remember what it was.
Show. It's probably like if you want any equipment on my location out on rent, like come to my show.
Yeah,
we were all on the take.
Even though I didn't actually ever buy any. He's the worst salesman in the world. Like we're friends. We've been friends for a long time. I've never bought anything from the guy.
So the last thing I ever want to do is like meet somebody and worry if they're going to give me business. So like,
I didn't do what he was doing. He was calling on the drilling guys. I didn't really need any of the things he was selling.
So he goes, my wife bought me. What's great? He goes, my wife bought me comedy lessons.
Yeah, yeah, she did. That's true. That's how I got it.
That may have been a hint. That might have been a hint.
It was a great hint. But he took it as like, oh, I'm funny, and we're like, no, your wife doesn't think you're funny, but that's fine. Man.
Get you out of the house.
So he takes comedy lessons, and part of the, I guess, like to graduate, he has to do like a live show or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I am never going to miss this.
Him and a lot of people.
There's no way that a friend of mine gives me the opportunity to come boo him on stage.
Yeah, that's right. That's what everybody came for.
I am 1,000% in. Please take my flyer. And of course, I make like 100 million copies of this flyer. I hand it out to the entire Oilfield. I'm like, listen, my buddy that I've just now acquired as a buddy because he's willing to get up on stage and let us come into his show. You get in and you get to boo him on stage. Please come with me. So 1 million flyers pasted all over Tulsa.
And there was a lot of people that showed up.
Yeah,
it was a big crowd.
That's the footage I saw, right?
That was the show Matt's talking about. Was actually my second show. Because I don't think you came to my graduation show.
You didn't have a flyer at that one.
Yeah, so the second show that I did, the second like real show that I did. So I did my graduation from the comedy training. It was a sold out show, and it was mostly people that came to see me. Same reason that Matt was talking about. And after the show, everybody's like, dude, that was really good. You should do this some more. So I did a couple of open mics.
Oh, they're so good.
And then I had a local promoter that saw me do an open mic, and he's like, hey, I got this show coming up. I want you to be a part of it. And that's the one I did flyers. I told Matt about. I was telling everybody about.
Nice.
And next thing I know, the people are calling me, and they're like, hey, we want to do like a tailgate party. Like, how big's the parking lot? And so I called the guy that's organizing the show, and I'm like, hey, there's like this is what we're talking about with the Oilfield supporting each other, right? Because everybody was just coming to support me, and it felt really good, because everybody was just interested. But So I called the guy that's organizing the show, and I'm like, hey, how big's the parking lot at this place? And he's like, well, I don't know. You can probably park 40 cars. And I was like, yeah, we're going to probably have to get a bus or something.
Yeah, we're going to have 400 cars.
We're going to have a tailgate party. And he's like, no, you're kidding. I was like, no, I'm not kidding. I was like, there's probably going to be 150
to show up
people.
and hang out together.
There's probably going to be 150 people that show up. And this guy, he's done comedy shows for 5 years. He's never had 100 people show up at a comedy show. He's never had 40 people show up at a comedy show.
That's awesome.
He thinks I'm crazy.
Yeah.
And so I said, no, listen, there's going to be a lot of people. Like, you just need to, we got to figure out a way. So we got some parking space, everything. There was a couple of companies that tailgated. I don't remember who. Maybe Tucker's Cut. I don't remember. There was a couple of tailgate companies. There was over 220 people that showed up. Like, we were almost to the fireman's limit in the place. And it's my second show, like the second time I've ever performed. And it was hot as shit. You remember that? There was no AC in this place. It was smoking hot. It was like July.
We ran them out of every beer they had.
The place was sold out.
They had no idea what was coming. They're just like, what happened to us?
Yeah, what happened? Like, we don't know what's going on.
That kind of sounds like an oil field party.
The oil field arrived.
And so it's my second show ever, and the guy that's doing the show, he's like, okay, you get the you're gonna head, like, you're going right before the headliner. So I'm the second to last of the show.
The headliner had no idea that we were all about to.
I should be an opener.
You should have been the headliner, yeah.
Right? Well, I should have been an opener based on my experience, but because of how many people showed up, they're like, okay, you're going second to last, and then the headliner's going. So I go, what happened? Tell them about that, man. I'm not going to say anything about that.
Well, you killed it, but the headliner bombed.
Yeah. So I go, and I killed it. Everybody's laughing. Everybody's having a good time. And I get off the stage.
So bad.
It was fun.
I don't even remember his name.
I do, but I'm not going to say.
Yeah, you can't, right? But we were like.
But he walked off. He got on stage. He did like 2 minutes. He's like, I can't follow that. And he left.
Wrong audience. Bring Lloyd back.
Yeah.
Bring Lloyd back.
Yeah.
Bring Lloyd back.
But it was awesome.
I think we gave him about
came to
35 seconds before, like, we're done with this poor guy.
Yeah, the guy
Bring Lloyd back.
They're heading out.
So everybody's like trying to talk to me and stuff, and it's like nobody's paying attention to him. It was fun.
That was a fun day.
But that was Kevin Hart. I'm just kidding, Kevin. If you're out there, you're probably not, but you are.
Definitely not that famous. But it was fun, and I feel like I did a pretty good job. But the cool thing is that the support that I got from that, and everybody came and stuff. And I was doing it like it was kind of a gag at first, but then I kind of got into it because I was like,
You're just telling oil and gas stories.
Yeah, well, I was telling oilfield story, but I was telling a lot of my own personal stories, like army stories and family stories, and it was fun. And so I started doing it a lot, and I did quite a few shows. I did it for 2 years, and I was pretty good at it, but then I got laid off from my cushy office job. And I don't
know. I don't know if that was cushy. You guys ran you wore a lot of hats in engineering for all the things you guys had to do.
Yeah, so I have a lot of hobbies. But
Drew was there.
Yeah, Drew and
Jeff was there.
Jeff and before Jake. Jake was there after I left.
Yeah.
We had, Trinity, I'm really sorry.
Right?
Rich Davis was my boss before.
What was before Trinity?
Before Trinity, it was PetroQuest.
PetroQuest, yeah. Yeah,
it was a good group. I mean, shout out to everybody at PetroQuest. It was fun times. Like I can't say that because I'm pretty happy now, but
that's all like Southeast Oklahoma drilling, right?
Yeah, it was down around Arcoma Basin, but that's where I did the mistake on the Mississippi Lime too. So, but we didn't have any Mississippi Lime wells. But
you should have been trying to drill in Mississippi Lime down Southeast Oklahoma.
That's fair.
That's a long way to drill.
Of course, we weren't there. We were up near Pawhuska.
It is a long lateral.
Man, if we'd have had this guy, we'd have made it. We'd have made it.
How many stages?
We're going to frack our way to Kansas.
How many stages of frack is that? Don't ask.
No, it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's too many.
But we were talking about the PetroQuest crew. Yeah, they were great. So, but I'm happy where I'm at now, and I've had good jobs since then. But my favorite job, I mean, honestly, my favorite job was with the crew at PetroQuest. They were good people, fun times. I had lots of authority and responsibility. I was responsible for all those frac jobs and stuff, and it was really good, man. And then I also had free time to go do the comedy stuff, and it was fun.
And Tulsa, at the time,
had a pretty hot
was the boom town of oil and gas at the moment, right?
Believe it or not, it wasn't always Houston. It wasn't.
It was, or even
OKC.
All the private equity firms were bringing on new companies.
There was a lot going
Tulsa.
on. There's nothing going on there now, pretty much. There's a couple.
Yeah. And they're running off of production, and they're making really some cool inroads.
And they're good. The companies that are there are good companies, but I mean, I don't mean to speak ill of the. There's good.
There's Citizens. There's Canyon Creek.
Yeah.
There's still a lot.
What's Staghorn?
Staghorn.
Yeah.
They did great. I mean,
they're good companies, but
Blackbeard.
there's no majors really there anymore.
The majors, for the most part, pulled out of Tulsa, but that leaves
which is unfortunate.
Here's the thing. I'm going to jump in there and say it's just like, but I still love my independence, and guess what? When that Mississippi Lime started, that was independence. That was Wayne Woolsey sold that land to Shell, and he didn't sell all of it, by the way,
right?
Because I went to Nate right after that, and he still had some acreage that was still pretty sweet. But if an independent's doing well, the majors start paying attention.
Yeah, that's right.
And they're the ones they'll give it a shot. You know, and that's what I love about it. I've talked to guys where they're just like, I want to do a lateral just because it's a lateral. It's like, well, I don't know if I'd recommend that personally, but I like that
wildcat.
We can do
of like, let's just do it.
We can do a whole episode on rate.
I'm like, you got like a 6-foot pay zone. Are you sure you can make that? It's like, yeah, we'll get it in there.
You got the right drilling contractor. You got the right geologist. You got the right reservoir,
directional driller. Yeah,
the directional driller. I recommend SB Directional in Oklahoma.
That's a good plug. You guys should send him a hat.
Yep. Well, they send us a check
or a sticker.
Well, there you go.
I'll take a sticker.
Nice.
That's fine.
Good job on that.
The wife definitely does all her best to make sure everybody knows about SB.
Where's Misty working now? I'm sorry, I don't know where.
SB Directional.
SB Directional. Okay.
Scott Birch does really amazing wells. Awesome. If you're an engineer out there that needs a directional company and you're willing to hand over the reins to somebody who knows what they're doing,
you should be.
Just drill the vertical and go to the lake. Yep. Enjoy yourself at Arcadia or 10 Killer or Eufaula. Come down here to Houston, meet amazing people.
Houston.
Yeah, Lake Houston, and then hand over the directional and the rest of the well to SB Directional.
Yeah. It sounds like a brilliant idea. I like it.
I like it. It's a good way to ensure that your curves are going to be quick, easy, in and outs.
Hey, and then whenever you're all done with that and you need to frack it, tell your service company that the only equipment is Jerry equipment.
There you go.
And then you frack with the best, you directional drill with the best. You're killing it.
Yep. Killing
and
it.
then if you want to put an ad in the paper, you talk to this guy.
And if you need some promo on social or whatever, I got you covered. You want to write a white paper for SB?
That's right.
Give me a call. We'll get it done.
He can do it.
Yeah.
You can put papers in quickly with your connections. There you go.
That's true.
That's right. And they got more legitimacy.
So you guys want to start a podcast company?
Yeah, so we're starting a podcast, believe it or not. Well, actually, it's not hard to believe.
You just found out the
that was a big announcement.
That was a big announcement, actually.
We put it off for a long time so that nobody would see it.
Okay, so you two are going to start a new podcast.
At least 2 weeks.
At least 2 weeks away, and you need. I'm going to leave all the scrum with you because
we don't know when it's going to start exactly yet. We're still working on kind of the concept and everything. I mean, we've kind of explored the concept here with you tonight on your show,
right?
How to do it? How to feel relaxed with a microphone in your hand.
Can we talk on mic and be relaxed? I knew the answer to that, but I didn't know about Jeremy.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know about Jeremy.
It was my test, right? It was like, so Lloyd sent me an audition tape, and then Lloyd comes to my house and puts me on the hot seat. So hopefully I'm doing all right. I hope you guys like me, but.
So Jeremy and I, we met just like 2 weeks ago.
Yep. Yeah.
And it was love
at first sight. That's a true story.
Love at first sight.
It was. I talked to, I don't want to interrupt, but I was talking to Steve. I was talking to Steve Loving. He's like, man, I'm trying to get you into this office to meet with Lloyd for like a month. And he's like, what do we need this guy for? He's like, now he can't shut up about you. He's like, that's all I hear is about this podcast. So we're excited. We think you'll be excited too.
Yeah. So Jeremy comes in, and I didn't want to meet with him because I have a lot of things that I do every day. And meeting with a social media marketing guy didn't seem like it was high on my priority list, I'll be honest. But
nothing gets done without marketing.
No, you're right. I know that we need to improve our presence and all these things, but there's just a lot of it doesn't move my personal goals forward. But anyway, I finally said, all right, Steve, you've been pushing hard. You've been pushing hard for this guy. Let's bring him in. So Jeremy comes in, we sit down, he starts talking about his strategies for like LinkedIn marketing, etc. And I'm like, this guy, I like him. I've talked to several other publishing and marketing firms already. And I felt like, his wife is very well connected.
Taylor's oldest son.
His father-in-law has an amazing, great reputation. No, I'm kidding. Jeremy.
I like that he's making a paycheck off of the stuff I do for free for my friends.
Occasionally, when my wife and I fight, she reminds me. She's like, "There wouldn't be a door open without my background." I was like, I don't know about that.
I will.
She's like, except that one client. She's like, "That's all you. That's all you."
Well, I can tell you that
everything I've ever done.
All right.
Everything I've ever done, I've copied from other people.
Hey, it's nothing wrong with emulating. What's That's good.
Yeah,
Don't reinvent the wheel.
Them. No,
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, so then you can take. I mean, that's
no. I haven't heard from Jerry yet on the deal that we're trying to put together. But we do have the podcast. So,
I actually sent in a deal today. I promise. I sent in a recommendation. So.
I appreciate that. So, no, Lloyd's right. We started chatting about it, and you know, the best things in life come easy, right? And so with Lloyd and I, it was easy. You know, we just started going back and forth, same sense of humor, and really, you know, what we're doing tonight, just Oilfield guys just talking about Oilfield. That's what we want to capture. We don't see that out there a lot. There's a lot of awesome technical content out there. There's a lot of amazing, you know, we got legislative, all of it. What we're trying to achieve is let's get the guys out in the field. The guys who, you know, I want to hear your stories, because some of my best stories that I share and reshare with friends are the ones where I'm sitting on the bed of a pickup somewhere in, you know, Chanute, Kansas, and somebody will pull out something that I've never heard before, and I'll laugh my ass off, and I'm like, so we're going to try to kind of put that in a capsule and serve it up to y'all. So hopefully you'll join us.
It's not gonna be politically correct.
Absolutely not.
Not gonna be politically correct. And I had this discussion with a friend of mine recently about how we were going to do this, because he's like, well, people, you know, LinkedIn is a very professional website, and so people are going to be nervous about coming on there and telling their true stories, right? So if you want to come on and tell a story, we're not going to use anybody's real names. We're not going to use real names. So if you tell a story about another guy or about yourself, we're not going to tell. We're not going to spill the cheese on anybody.
Fair enough.
And if you're uncomfortable with like being seen, we'll web chat you in, but we won't put up your video camera.
Okay.
Just your voice.
I kind of want to do that thing where it's like the black silhouette.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
I
brought a woman to the oil rig, and this is what happened.
Yeah, this Dateline style. Yeah, we probably won't go that deep.
I brought my wife to the oil rig, so I'm safe.
You're safe.
Yeah. So, I mean, but we invite any field guys, and I'm going to be sending out some shout outs to some of you guys to get you to come on and be participants. But we want to talk about real stories. We want to talk about the community. I mean, it's not just going to be crazy, wild and crazy stories. We want to talk about real things, like real stuff, like real problems that happen in the field, real problems that you face, but not from a like technical aspect, like from maybe it's being away from your family too much, and that's what you want to talk about.
And really, that's a problem-solving podcast.
Yeah.
Because we are working together to hey, we're all thinking about all the same stuff all the time. You are not alone.
Right.
You are with a huge family
we
that
love
has
you.
all gone through the same things. And I mean, a lot of times you're like, man, am I crazy for thinking like this? And you get with your friends and you have a couple cocktails, you guys have all been through the same stuff. And you've overcome the same hurdles. And if we can solve one thing, or talk about it at least and laugh about it.
Laughing's going to be a big part of it.
If we don't laugh, we're going to cry.
Yeah, that's right. Laughter is the best medicine.
In the middle of the night, out in the middle of nowhere, if you're up at Peons Creek, and it's -30, and you're outside, and it's your
daughter's birthday,
and it's Christmas, and you're broken, and you're tired, and you never know if you're ever going to go home again, much less make it home safely. We've all been there. It's okay to feel freaked out for a second. Tomorrow's a new day.
And what'll make you feel better is tuning into the Oil and Gas Lighting podcast.
10 years from now, you're some dorky podcast host talking on the back porch in Houston, Texas.
That's right. You sit on the back porch, smoking cigars and drinking whiskey.
It's not a bad life, right? It's we're oilfield positive, and I guess that's a term. I think I just coined a new term. We're oilfield positive. Hey, in this politically correct world, we can be oilfield positive. I think that's all right.
We want to be in this world, that's for sure.
But oil and gas lighting is the name of the podcast.
Oil and gas lighting,
and we're excited about that. And so unedited, real stories about the real field, actual things. I told you earlier that my best experience is the reason I even have a leg to stand on in the oil field is because I got my ass out there, and that's what we want to hear about. That's the real oil field. I'll be honest, I live down in Houston, and there's a lot of amazing people down here, but there's a lot of folks that haven't been out there. They need to know what it's like out there. They need to get out there.
Yeah, and we're not looking for if you're an engineer and you want to be on the show, that's fine. But we're also looking we're looking for blender tenders. We're looking for pump operators. We're looking for service supervisors. We're looking for roughnecks. We're looking for roustabouts. We're looking for water haulers. And I know that all of the I know that all the frac guys are going to be excited about this. We're looking for water transfer hands also. you should see the wars that go on Facebook between frac and water transfer. But no, if you're a field guy and you got a funny story you want to tell, you want to share, just reach out to us over the next couple of months, and we're going to start putting together like guest lists and schedules, and we're going to start booking some shows, making some shows, recordings.
I love that you guys came up with oil and gas lighting.
Yeah.
Because
he came up with that. That's the marketing guy.
Actually,
you're great. Marketing guys are wizards like this. Like, so you're not crazy.
Exactly. It's like you're not crazy. It's
oil and gas lighting.
It's life, and it's just these are stories that people need to hear, and hopefully we can tap a wider oil and gas or a wider non-oil and gas market that can learn a little bit about it. Because I tell you what, I've got a story about directional driller that I'll hold off on for this particular podcast, but I will tell you what, I audited a drilling class in University of Kansas for a semester, but I learned everything I know about directional drilling, sitting on that rig, going out, looking at the tool. He told me how it worked, and the way he explained it, it's just like I know exactly how it works. Yeah. And that was the amazing part about it. It's like you learn so much in a concentrated effort, and you're laughing the entire time. These guys are, yeah, it's a great community. Like we said, a lot of love for them, and so and we love to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Well, now you are. You're going to have your bots.
We're really looking forward to it.
All the bots are going to watch you this week.
Exactly. We're going to. My first call.
We got our one viewer plus the goats, and so we're doing pretty good. It's better than
we got a contact in Afghanistan already. The one guy that watches Matt's show and the 3 goats. I mean, we can put some. We can get the goats to wear a vest that says like oil and gas lighting. We'll be huge in Afghanistan.
If I can double my goat viewership kind of every month, I'm in good shape.
I really.
I'm actually feeling hungry for some like goat tacos now. I know that Houston has.
We are in Texas.
Houston has the most amazing food culture. This place has by far passed New York City, Los Angeles. If you're a chef
food in Houston, there's no doubt.
If you're a chef in the entire world, you're moving to Houston. Yeah, the entire if you're from around the world and you want to be free in America, Houston's your destination.
What's your favorite restaurant in Houston, Matt? Let's give some plugs out there.
State of Grace.
Oh, State of Grace.
Duck Carnitas.
Duck Carnitas.
State of Grace. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
What do you got, Jeremy? I mean, you live here. You should really be.
I got a lot of choices. The thing we joke about down here is the first thing you ask when you meet anybody new down here. It's like I just met some new neighbors, and the very first thing you ask is like, where y'all eat? Because you're always looking, and it always changes.
Yeah.
I will tell you, for my money, consistently, Taste of Texas still kills it for me. If you haven't been, you got to go. There's only one. It's one of a kind. You'll learn a little bit about Texas while you're there, but you'll get the best damn steak. And
better than the steak is the huge block of cheese on the salad bar.
That's true too. Yeah.
You
got a massive salad bar.
Get your cheese slicer, and
that's the only place I've ever actually encountered and understood what meat sweats are.
Yeah, that's true. That's totally
true.
Know that.
You never been to the Brazil place?
But I found out it
Fogo de Chao.
Yeah, Fogo de Chao.
So the joke is,
but that's a chain. I don't want to plug a chain. I got you. I want to plug Taste of Texas.
And they're still family run. That's a great thing. Lots of history, and my joke is when we're there with a big group, I always pick like the smallest person in the group, and I always make sure they order the tomahawk ribeye. That's the way you got to do it.
Yeah, it's
just for the laugh factor, and it just blows your mind. So
Taste of Texas is.
If you're in Houston, it's worth it. And there's plenty more. I'm not. There's lots of good food down here. But
Waka downtown, right next to Hess Corporation.
Yeah.
Really amazing food. Like culturally, they just keep it at that little area of Mexico, and their pork shank.
Pork shank.
Really?
Wow.
Okay.
Have you been to True Lux?
No.
Yeah, True Lux is good.
Okay, so if you haven't been to True Lux, you got to go there and get the stone crab.
Okay.
Absolutely incredible.
We're in Houston. We should talk about their seafood next. No one else.
Actually, we should talk. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
No one else. You guys have Gulf shrimp. You have Gulf oysters.
Houston's
you have redfish. You
got too many people. You got too much traffic. But other than that, you're doing pretty solid.
America, we need more people. We need more
oilfield hands.
We do.
Yeah,
we do.
I think the more people we have in America, the better.
For those of you watching up north, I was a big fan of walleye. Was my fish. That was my fish. Best fish in the world.
Oh, walleye.
Until I had redfish in Texas.
Redfish is fantastic.
And oh my God, that's
blackened redfish.
Oh,
you can't go wrong with that.
My buddies in Wisconsin make it bristle a little bit, but they need to come down here and check it out.
It's dinner time. All right, we're out. We're gonna go to dinner.
Hey,
we're
thank
gonna
you
eat some
guys
food.
for watching.
Thanks, y'all.
God bless you. Thank you. Please tune in to more Oilfield Tailgate episodes. This is all brought to you by the Oilfield Tailgate. All the sponsors go to oilfieldtailgate.com. thank the sponsors, sign up to get the emails, sign up to come and attend every home game in Norman. We have a great time, great food.
Heck yeah. We were center, am I right?
Man, I mean, honestly, if you don't even care about football, if you just want to hang out with people.
I'm being a little snidey when I say that. I'm a K-State grad. Yeah. We might have messed up your season a couple of weeks ago. I apologize.
It's fine. At the end of the day, we host a great party near Norman Stadium during home games, but it's really just about fellowship with oil and gas guys.
Sure. Yeah, it's a great. The tailgate party's fantastic.
And all this, the reason I'm hanging out with you guys is because of Oilfield Tailgate.
Well, we'd like to thank Matt for allowing us to be a guest on his spectacular and well-viewed show.
You guys are now co-hosts. Anybody that comes on as a guest, now you guys are co-hosts.
Perfect.
And your only job in life is to bring on more guests and have them hang out, talk about their stories.
That's our goal.
There we go. All right. Love you guys.
Hey,
Thank you for doing it. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.
Appreciate it.